Hi, my name's Laura. This is not my normal content, but I wanted to share the story of my medical trauma and sexual assault. This happened 10 years ago, and in some ways I'm still processing it, particularly as there is a massive lack of justice or accountability for what happened to me. I was under the care of a local hospital. I had had chronic constipation and some bowel changes. I'd had lots of tests done and everything was coming back normal. It's worth noting that the hospital I was seeing at, I used to be a nurse there, and the consultant I was under, I knew him, I'd had lunch with him, we were colleagues, we'd shared a laugh and a joke together. So he told me all my tests were normal, everything was fine, and gave me a suggestion, a strange suggestion, I've never heard this one before, but he said if I was constipated and couldn't go to the toilet, that what I could try to do was put a finger into my vajayjay and try and manipulate through the vaginal wall to move the feces along. I was like, okay. And kind of just like, yeah, right, not really going to be doing that. And concluded the appointment, and I just stood up to go, and he said, may as well examine you while you're here. So I went and laid on the table. There was a young male chaperone in the room who stood at the end of the bed. He couldn't see my face, nor could he see what the hands of the consultant were doing. In fact, whilst I was being sexually assaulted, I was trying to look at this man, and he was staring at his feet. So the consultant, who I'm not naming for legal reasons, he examined me rectally, saying that everything felt fine. Did this, I don't know, for maybe a minute. And then I could feel his other hand near my genitals. And he said, can I? And I obviously correctly assumed he meant, could he also examine me internally in my vagina? And I said, okay, which was fine. He then put his finger in my vagina. It was also, his other hand was still in my ass. He started talking about how I could do this procedure to push feces through the vaginal wall to get things moving if perhaps my body was being sluggish. And, he was demonstrating with obviously a finger in each hole. And then something changed. It wasn't just that he had a finger in each anymore. He was now moving those fingers up and down and talking really fast. I can't remember exactly what he was saying, but he was just saying, yeah, you do this and you do this. But his entire manner changed. And the more he talked, the more he, the faster those two fingers moved, sort of penetrating, in and out, in and out. I felt uncomfortable, and it felt so wrong. But all I was thinking, this is typical fight, flight, or fawn response of, it's gonna be over in a minute. Just grin and bear it, it's gonna be over in a minute. But it wasn't. It just kept going. And he was just, I was moving on the bed. That was the force of which I was being penetrated, doubly. And I look to the chaperone, the person who is meant to be protecting me, looking after my interests, making sure that nothing inappropriate happens, and he's staring at his feet. He can't see that I'm looking at him desperately for intervention. He can't see what this monster's hands are doing to me. This went on for 5+ minutes, and I'm just laying there thinking, am I overreacting? This doesn't feel right. This feels really, really wrong. But why? why would he do this to me? Do you know, when I sat down to film this video, I didn't think I could still get so emotional about it, given that it was so many years ago. So I just laid there and I waited for it to be over. And eventually it was. He said, you can get up now and get changed, which I did. And I just wanted to get out of there. I felt so unsafe. I felt disgusting and violated, and I needed to get out. But as I'm trying to leave, he starts giving me compliments. He starts telling me that my body looks good, that it looks fit and healthy, that my boyfriend must be really happy with the way I look. And I'm just like, I don't have a boyfriend. And he said, that's a shame because you're so beautiful. And it's all just adding to this level of inappropriateness. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Is this the same guy who used to have lunch with? Just why? What did I do? And as soon as I get out that door, I leave just as fast as I could. First thing I do, I reach the car park, I phone my mum and said, I can't believe what just happened. It feels really, really wrong. I don't know if I've misunderstood. Am I reading something wrong? Because I just genuinely didn't believe that this sort of thing could happen. And when you go into a hospital, you feel like you're going to be safe, that you are handing yourself over to these experts and doctors and the caring profession, and that they're not going to hurt you. And now, even to this day, when I go into a hospital, I mean, not that one, I have to be dragging and screaming to go there again. Every instinct in my body is screaming, you are not safe. And I see all these people walking about like they haven't got a care in the world. I'm like, don't you realise that anything could happen? That my body and my trauma is just screaming like, no, run, run for your life. This isn't a safe place, and it should have been a safe place. I've never really spoken about this publicly. I've shared about it with some friends. It's my cautionary tale of, never assume you're safe. But there's been some conversations lately that made me think, actually, maybe there is a way I can share this in a way where I'm not naming the bastard, I'm not naming the hospital. I mean, I might have to go into another video to talk about how the hospital dealt with it. Nice bit of victim blaming going on there. But, yeah, I wanted to reach out to anyone who's also undergone sexual assault or some medical trauma. But, yeah, I'm going to stop now.